refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was
Never.
unthinkable. Wasn't it?
Wasn't it?
Was it even possible?
I don't know.
Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
So how do I... Oh, duh. Oh wait, what am I doing? Right here? Oh, there's a big red button. Can I press it? Nope. I cannot press anything. Facility. Oh, there's a button right here too. It's a 5. It makes different sounds too. Maybe I need to press it from 1 to 5? Maybe? There is 1, 2. Where's 3 at? 3. And then right here. 3, 4. Does this work? I don't know. All I know is, why can't I run? It'll be far much faster if I can run. 5. Oh, nothing happened. Dang it. Let's move on. Mind control idle, awaiting input. What does it say right there? I can't read it. System.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
So I press off. Okay. I listened to you and you gave me a black screen. What's going on now?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved.
A lot.
Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness.
Oh,
Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever
Looks
life
nice.
he lives, it will be.
That's really nice.
And that was
Oh
all
my
he needed to know.
god.
It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen.
Looks so
And
nice.
Stanley was happy.
Okay. I beat the game by following the thing? Okay. Now I'm back and there's a bunch of papers on the floor.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time.
Oh, what is this? Hit. La 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 la.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open
go
doors,
left.
he entered the door on his left.
Alright. I go here again.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his
I
boss's
walked down.
office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work
What is
hours.
this?
He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar.
Yeah.
Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't
I've been
be
going
real.
in circles.
And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above
Oh my
the ground.
God.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield.
What?
And it too appeared. It was so much fun. And Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid?
He took
And
acid.
then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought.
Wow,
And while he
Inception.
thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself?
And what can I do?
Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
I've been going through these doors
Now,
over
hearing
and
the
over
voice
again.
speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way
That's
it's
so
always
depressing.
been. My life is normal.
I am normal.
I am normal.
Everything will
Everything
be fine.
will be fine. I am okay.
No, you're not. You need help. Nope, he's still here.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be.
God.
Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Wow. Okay.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Mariello?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the
Oh,
sidewalk.
that's Stanley.
And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned it around.
Wow. So I beat the game again? Oh my.